And we're joined now by David Gibson. He is the director of Fordham University's Center on Religion and Culture. Good morning. Let me ask you your reaction to the news this morning.
Well, it's very sad. He was a remarkable pope, a remarkable man. I was there in St. Peter's Square back in March 2013, 12 years ago, when he came out on the balcony. None of us knew what he was going to be like. Who was this man going to be? And after a moment, he just said, "Buonasera." You know, that simple kind of, and you just had that sense. It was a style, as your reports were noting earlier. He was so human. He was, people spoke of him as a pastor more than as a pope. So I'm feeling very grateful. And of course, we're all thinking about what is going to come next. Are we going to get another Pope Francis?
Oh, that is such the question, isn't it? And tell me, when you were there in St. Peter's Square and he came out onto the balcony, he started with a simple act asking for the blessing of the people for him, which was something that we hadn't heard before. But what an incredible start, certainly, and certainly a message of what his papacy would be like.
Very much so. I remember that. It's an incredible moment. We were all there. I was with a bunch of other journalists, and we had never seen anything like it. But it was consistent with what he did. Every time you met him, he said, "Pray for me. Please pray for me." And he said he was humble. He was outgoing. He recognized when in his first major interview after his election, he was asked, "Who is Pope Francis? Who are you?" He said, "I'm a sinner." He said, "That's what you have to know. I am a sinner in need of forgiveness."
David, you've written 2 books on Catholicism. What were some of the other ways in which Pope Francis kind of bucked the norms of past popes?
Well, there are so many issues, certainly. The elevation of women in the church was remarkable. He didn't get to the breakthrough of ordaining women, of course, as priests or even as deacons, which was a big debate during his pontificate. But it was extraordinary. He put women in charge of Vatican departments over cardinals and bishops, something that we were always told could never happen. He had women voting in these assemblies at the Vatican on equal terms with bishops and cardinals. That was remarkable, even though there's much more to be done in the eyes of many. And he tried to reform the church. His main view was that the church cannot be an effective witness if you don't reform it itself. It starts in the Curia, the Roman Curia, the finances, sex abuse. He did much better than his predecessors, even though there is much more to do.
And tell me what you expect in the next few days. Do you plan on heading to Rome for the funeral?
I hope to, and we're going to see how that goes. Got to sort out a few things here at home, but yeah, I think I'll be heading over, and it's going to be a process. Look, it's the funeral. They haven't told us yet. It's usually 4 to 6 days after a pope dies. They'll have a funeral. Could be as soon as Saturday. We will see. Then about 2 to 3 weeks after that is the actual conclave. But the important thing, and again, everybody's an expert on a conclave now that they've seen the movie that we just had, remember. And that movie is not bad in terms of representing the dynamics that go on. But there are 2 or 3 weeks of closed-door meetings of all the cardinal electors. There are 135 cardinals under the age of 80 who are eligible to vote for the Pope. They'll be having meetings, discussions over the next 2 to 3 weeks, so they'll have an idea of what they want to do, maybe, before they go into the Sistine Chapel to vote.
David, any idea, in your estimation, of any front runners to be the next pope, potentially?
There are a number. Covering the Vatican is a lot harder, I've got to say, than covering the White House. At least in a presidential election, it's one of 2 contenders. Literally any one of the 135 cardinals who go into the Sistine Chapel could emerge wearing a white cassock on the balcony of St. Peter's. So it's hard to say, but there are 20, 25 cardinals who are possible. Cardinal Parolin, the Secretary of State, an Italian, he's been talked about a lot. There are others. This Pope has named cardinals in places that never had cardinals before. In Iran, there's a cardinal. In Mongolia, there's a cardinal. We've had a cardinal in San Diego. We have a cardinal in Newark, New Jersey, Joe Tobin. So it could go, they really have to decide, I think, do they want a cardinal from the Southern Hemisphere, which is where the vast majority of Catholics live, Asia, Africa, Latin America, or do they want to go back to Europe and get somebody? You know, Francis was the first pope from outside Europe, from Argentina. Do they want to go back to somebody from Europe? This breaks a lot of different ways.
David Gibson, director of Fordham University Center on Religion and Culture, thank you very much.
Thank you.